Some small lineup changes are having a big impact for the Tampa Bay Lightning during this 3-game win streak. Can they keep the momentum going tonight against the Dallas Stars? We'll talk about it on today's Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we want to begin with a shout out to our everydayers, those of you who tune into every single show, every single day. We love you guys. We appreciate the support you give us week in, week out. I'm Nick Morgan, and I am joined by the pumpkin patch to my apple orchard, Greg Stephen. Greg, welcome in, my friend.
That was a pretty good October themed one you just dropped there.
It's fall vibes. It's raining outside. I don't know what the weather's like in Tampa, but it is a gloomy fall day. Yeah.
It's all right. It's kind of rainy today, but it's been beautiful here, honestly. But anyway, happy Thursday to everyone and huge game tonight. So looking forward to it.
Huge game tonight. Real quick, as we're talking about fall, Shining, is that a Halloween movie or a winter time movie?
I would say neither. I would just say it's a horror film.
Okay, well, you're doing nothing to solve the debate going on in my household right now. Anyway, we will we'll save the horror movie discussion for another show. As Greg mentioned, a big hockey game tonight. Lightning take on the Dallas Stars, trying to turn that 3-game win streak into a 4-game win streak. Only problem is the Dallas Stars also have a lot of momentum. We'll have keys to the game and some picks coming up, plus a look at this 3-game win streak for the Lightning right now. What has changed that has caused the Lightning to suddenly find their stride? All coming up on today's show. First, though, want to mention today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, Greg, as we mentioned, it's been a very different vibe this week for the Tampa Bay Lightning than where we were at this point last week. Yeah. Obviously, coming off a record worst 7-game start in franchise history. They've responded with 3 big wins, the latest coming Tuesday in Nashville, 5-2 win there. I'm going to start with this before we get into tonight's game. What's something you've noticed different from the Tampa Bay Lightning over these past 3 games?
I think, obviously not with the exception of the first game that they won, they just seem a lot more relaxed and comfortable out there. I think they were gripping the sticks pretty tightly for the back half of that first 7, because obviously that's not their game, right? And we know that. But I think they knew that too. I think they knew it would turn around. I think we did as well, secretly, Obviously, we talked about the panic button and all that, but ultimately, I was never super concerned. I do know this team was going to turn it around. They just look a lot looser out there, a lot more comfortable. The big guys are starting to click a little better now and find their groove. And like I said, I think once before on one of our episodes earlier this week or last week, I think it was just a slow start. That's really all it is. It's that simple. They slumped a little bit in the beginning. They started hot in preseason and they just had a little bit of a cold streak, and that's okay. That's okay. As long as they maintain some momentum and stay, at like a 60-70% win rate, it's not going to matter in the end.
I don't think, the hands being on the panic button, despite being this early in the season, I don't think it was unwarranted. I don't think we're hitting full send on it and saying Jon Cooper's on the hot seat now, season's lost, blah, blah, blah. Let's look ahead to tanking for Gavin McKenna, all those things. But I think we were I think it was valid to kind of have our hands there and be sort of in the mindset of there's a lot of things that aren't getting fixed right now that were sort of problems last year that still aren't addressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think in terms of that, it's gotten better. To me, it's these last 2 games, especially the win over Vegas, the win over Nashville, they're playing with a lot more belief. And it is sort of kind of an old psychology trick where once you actually can see yourself doing something, like once you actually achieve the goal you're trying to get, it becomes second nature every time. And I think for the Lightning, those last couple of losses against Washington, against Chicago, they played well enough to win both those games and just had small hiccups that cost them the win. And I think when you're able to go into that Anaheim game and you had a lot of those same hiccups, but this time you were able to overcome them and take the win, I think that did do a lot for this team's mindset, because it's like, okay, we kind of got that big, massive rock off of our shoulders. We got the win. We've ended sort of the talk about this record worst start. We've been able to have a game where we've overcome our early mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can just go out there and play hockey and kind of get back to that mindset that we've always been in. That, to me, Greg, I think that's been a big impact on these last couple games.
Definitely. I'd argue too, like same vein, that those close games actually mean a lot more to them as well, because it shows their resilience. Like you kind of mentioned with the Ducks, they were up 3-1 and it became 3-3. And then, you have to have some resilience there to finish that game out, after giving up too quickly. I think they scored those 2 goals in a minute too, which is, that can be super deflating, So to withstand that and win that game, I think was massive. And then you go ahead and you play Vegas, and you're probably not favored in that. I would assume the books had them unfavored. But then you win that game 2-1 and it's tight. And like you dominate them realistically in the first 2 periods, but still close game that you win with resilience. And I think that's going to carry through a lot of these upcoming games. Especially like this game tonight to me is huge. This is just like the Vegas game to me. The Stars are an insanely good team. Rantanen is on fire. Even Wyatt Johnston is on fire. I mean, Robertson looks like he's back to himself. He kind of had a little bit of aggression last season, but now he's kind of finding his rhythm again. So this is a dangerous team. And Oettinger is a great goalie too.
Yeah.
And with the Lightning kind of struggling on the power play, this is going to be a tough win. So
yeah,
we'll see. This is a big test for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're going to get to keys in the game and all that in just a little bit. But I do want to talk about Dallas for a little bit, because this was a very popular Stanley Cup pick, Greg.
Yeah.
And right now they're not doing anything to sort of quell the notion that they are going to be one of the best teams at the end of the season right now. And like you mentioned, everything's clicking for them. Miko Rantanen, it was kind of iffy after he left Colorado last year, because he played great in Carolina, and for up until the middle of that Avalanche playoff series, he didn't look that great in Dallas either. Something clicked halfway through the playoffs, and you've seen that momentum carry into this year. He leads the Stars with 12 points in 10 games, 4 goals, 8 assists. We already talked, Jason Robertson has 9 points too, but Wyatt Johnston is the guy to me who's really sort of carried this offense this year. 6 goals. He's the center on that top line between Miko Rantanen and Jason Robertson. He's kind of been the guy that's been the glue for this line. And a lot of the play goes through him. He's really good at setting players up. He's really good. I wouldn't say he's like, a power forward or anything like that, but he is physical enough that I think he's able to go into tight spots and make space for his teammates to make plays. And I think that's what makes him so good is he's not afraid to go in there and sort of get in the dirty areas to make plays for the Stars. And that is something that the Tampa Bay is going to have to watch tonight.
100%. And he's so young still too.
Mm-hmm.
Like this team is going to be really good for a while. And they even have great, like in my opinion, they have some of the best veterans that you could sign right now. Like Duchesne is such a great sign, in my opinion. I think he's so good to have in the back half of your roster. And obviously they still have Sagan, right? Like this team is insanely good. And then you look at their defense too. I mean, Miro Heiskanen has 5 points in 10 games. Yeah. And he's just a shutdown guy too. Like he's more of a defensive defenseman in my mind, and he still has 5 points. Like this team's very good. They just re-signed a couple guys too. I think Harley was one of them.
Harley just got the big, the massive extension treatment too.
And he has 8 points in his 10 games. So God, man, they're firing on all cylinders. Oettinger has 5 wins. His GAA is only 2.6. I mean, they're good. This is a good team.
This is a good team. And yeah, obviously, like Matt Duchene has been hurt this year, so he hasn't played a whole lot. Jamie Benn has also been hurt, so he's not playing a whole lot. But, they have guys like, Tampa Bay Lightning legend Adam Ernie is out there as well and getting good minutes for them. And you just look, and this is a well-constructed team from the top down. And it just seems like every year where we're like Dallas has the pieces to contend, you turn around and look, and there's just some other random guy who's stepping up, who's like 21, 22 years old, who's stepping in and having a big impact. It was Logan Stankoven last year before he got traded to Carolina.
Right.
This year, Maverick Bork, who was a high draft pick, is coming in, and he's kind of started to find his footing with the NHL squad a bit. So Dallas is going to be good for a long time, and this is going to be a tough game for the Bolts tonight.
Absolutely. And I always say this too, goalies win games a lot of the time, and Oettinger has been a wall. So this is a big test, like I said, especially for Vasi too. You got to outplay the other goalie in this one.
Yeah. We're going to get to our keys to the game and picks coming up in a little bit later. But next, something I want to talk about for the Lightning, some lineup changes. Some small tweaks have been paying off big time for the Lightning during this win streak. We're going to dive into that when we come back. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's not just NHL in full swing, folks. The NBA is back, and there is no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, whether you're cheering for the Magic, the Heat, or somebody else in the NBA. It's always cool when your team is making that late push. And here's something else exciting. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Again, all you have to do is put $5 down and get $300 back in bonus bets if you win. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Again, download the FanDuel app and place your first $5 bet. We are back on Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. And Greg, I want to talk about the Tampa Bay lineup because after, only the one win in 7 games, Jon Cooper tweaked the lineup a little bit, trying guys in different spots, and he seems to have found a formula that has worked out. What have you seen from the lineup so far, and some of the changes that Jon Cooper has made?
Yeah, we've seen a ton of changes, I feel like, over the last, 8 games, 9 games?
We've seen a lot of combinations, some out of necessity, some out of we just need to get something going.
Right. I think Curtis Douglas was one of the best additions to the team, honestly. I know we kind of were talking about how we're not really sure why he plays over Finley and stuff yesterday, but still, he brings like that good vibe energy. He's there to protect some guys and be that physical presence. And I think that adds to the confidence of the team a bit. Outside of that, Chafee to waivers, that's huge. I feel bad because all I did was rag on him, but look, I feel like I was right, And I think that's going to help this team a lot because you can bring up a guy like James and all of a sudden you have someone that's doing a lot more out there. And I just think that's important. And that was a smart play by Coop, right? And again, you sit Radish a few games and I think that's really helped this team. And I hope it helps him, I hope it helps him learn more and be able to understand what he should be doing out there. So that when he is put back in the lineup, he's a better player. And sometimes being healthy scratched isn't a diss. It's not, it's not about that. It's right. More just like, think about your game a bit, sit down, observe, absorb, and produce after, right? And I think that's important. That's important to a lot of young guys, especially. Like, this is why I call for Lilleberg to be scratched, because it's not that I think he's bad. It's just that I think he needs to see the impact he has on the ice. If he sees himself not out there and there's no penalties and they win the game, he's like, man, I got to stop, tripping guys or taking a high stick or, so it's not really a diss, but a lot of those changes I think have really helped this team. And I think they're very smart of Coop. And then you bring up Dasto and he's a unit, right? I mean, it makes room for these guys to show off their skills. And look, it's boosting this team. Like we've added so many new players into this team in the last few games, right? Like I said, James, Dasto, we bring Finley in sometimes, right? I mean, Holmberg is brand new and he's been on fire. He has 5 points in 10 games.
Yeah.
I love it. I think he's doing a great job. I think the people who talk about how Coop has lost it or he's not doing it right, I think they're sorely mistaken. I think he's easily the best coach in the league right now. And he's doing his job.
100%. And I go back to when I was covering the Nashville Predators and Andrew Burnett had a quote when he was scratching some guys. He's like, sometimes being a healthy scratch isn't a punishment. It's just a chance for you to take a step back. Like you said, I think that's something big. And I think that's, Darren Radish is, back skating at morning skate today. I don't know if he's coming into the lineup or not. But that's a chance for somebody like him to look at his game a little bit more too. To your point, and something I want to applaud Jon Cooper for is he's not just putting new guys in the lineup. He's giving them opportunities to shine with their skill set.
Yes.
And here's sort of what I mean by that. There's sort of that old habit, and we kind of called that out with Jack Finley a little bit this year and Connor Geekie, where sometimes it's like if you're like the young person, like the new call up, you might get out there for 8 minutes or so, fourth line shifts, sort of nothing time, that kind of play.
Yeah.
Jon Cooper, when it comes to Dominic James, has gone full send and is just he's on the third line right now.
Yeah.
He's skating between Oliver Bjorkstrand and Gage.
Yeah. He skated more time than Holmberg.
Yeah, and he's being put in situations where he can use his skill. We talked about the Marner clip where he just knocked Marner around for 30 seconds on a shift against Nashville. We saw him out there against Steven Stamkos. We saw him out there against Philip Forsberg, some of Nashville's big guns. Yeah. He's not shying away from these big matchups, and you saw the same thing with Dasto last game. That to me is, I think, a big thing is he's recognizing when players have a little bit of energy, when they're having positive impact on the ice. And instead of being like, okay, good shift, here's now our top 3 lines and you can go sit on the bench every game. He's rewarding them with more play and in turn is building their confidence. And I think that's key.
It is. Absolutely. And like you said, he goes full send with some of these guys, right? Like Dasto, if you look at his time on ice per game on average, I mean, obviously he's only played 3 games, but he's still skating just as much time as Lilleberg. Yeah. And Coop could have easily put him in for, a handful of shifts instead, but he said, no, I trust you, get out there. And I think that him showing that trust in them helps their game as well. It's not even just like full send, get out there. It's just like, I believe in you. And I think that is super important as a coach. I don't think it's done enough. And look, here we go. They're firing. Like Dasto he's been popping off and he's positive in the differential too, which is what you want on defense, right? Like, it's him and Moser and Crozier really right now that are lockdown guys.
And what a crazy story for Dasto too. Last 3 years was playing in Europe, just bouncing around La Liga and the Swedish Hockey League. The last time he played hockey in North America, he was in the ECHL. He was 2 levels below NHL, goes to Europe for a couple of years. Lightning take a chance, and here he is having a big impact in NHL games as a 27-year-old, more or less rookie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's crazy. I love that story. The other thing to me, and it's not just sort of the new guys coming in, it's how Jon Cooper has handled sort of the big guns at the top of the lineup as well. Yeah. I believe it was before the Anaheim game where he, after switching some guys around, decided to put Gensel, Point, and Kucherov back together. We talked about that being the dominant line last year. We know Gensel moved around a little bit. We know Cirelli jumped up into that first line at some points, but this seemed to be a way to acknowledge that this was our big money line last year. They have good chemistry. We know they have good chemistry. we're just going to put them together and trust that they can play themselves out of whatever's going on with them right now.
Yep.
The interesting thing for me is that second line too, because it's Hagel and Cirelli back together. But really, Greg, that right wing spot has been open these past 3 games. Sometimes they've left it open and they've played 7 defensemen. I know Darren Radish played as an extra defenseman. Curtis Douglas started there last game, but of course he only played, I think, like 5 minutes.
Yep.
But that's given an opportunity to maybe play Kucherov with those two a little bit. We know Gage Gonsalves has jumped back up there. Curtis Douglas, of course, has played there. I think even Oliver Bjorkstrand took a couple of shifts up there. So it's kind of been an interesting way to get 2 good players in Hagel and Cirelli out there with maybe a different line mate depending on what the situation is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that. It's like a fluidity they have in that slot. And at the same time, I'm also sort of indifferent about it because it would be probably good to lock someone into that line at some point, just so there's like a little bit of a consistency with the top 2. But at this, I don't know. It's just like they're so fluid. It's kind of nice in a way. The other thing is with that second line is you want to reserve Hagel and Cirelli a little bit just because of the PK. And I think that that's really important. And I think that's another reason they leave it open, because they might have to kill a lot of penalties. I mean, we know this team takes a lot of penalties right now.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to burn those 2 out and then have them go PK. So I don't know. It's very interesting. I kind of like how they're doing it right now. It's very interesting. I don't think it's very orthodox either,
No, Nick Paul is skating. It seemed like he was going to be back soon, but he's still apparently in the red contact jersey, according to Eric Erlandson. So it seems like he might be out, but I'm wondering maybe if things shuffle back upwards when Nick Paul comes in the lineup, if we don't see maybe Gage go back there, maybe even like somebody like Dominic James on a wing or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a more permanent addition there. Dallas Stars preview tonight. We're going to get to our keys to the game and some picks in just 1 second when we come back. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch. Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all of our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track of your money, and that can mean losing some dollars on the table. That's why I started using Monarch. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface, either on your laptop or on your phone. I love using Monarch. All I did was upload all of my accounts, my credit cards, my bank accounts, my investments, and within seconds, I was able to see everything I'm spending. I was able to get categorization of where my spending's going, and I was able to get a better handle on my investments without ever having to touch a spreadsheet. It makes it easier to review everything from my goals and make better financial decisions moving forward. Plus, Monarch's visual dashboards and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where my money is going and how to make it work harder for me. So if you want to try it out, here's a financial opportunity for you. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. Again, monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. We are back on Locked on Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. We are talking about the Lightning's game tonight against the Dallas Stars at Club BMI, as Greg calls it. 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop for you. Greg, give me a key to the game for tonight. How are the Lightning going to win this one?
Number 1, discipline. And yes, I say that every time, but today,
don't listen.
Today in particular, I mean, the Stars are 3rd on the power play in the league, 31% conversion rate. That's extremely dangerous. You take stupid penalties, you lose this game. I promise.
I'm with you there 100%. And I'm going to flip that for you. I'm going to say the key for the Lightning is to get their power play going.
Yeah.
Because Dallas is kind of quietly a heavily penalized team. And they're also not that great on the penalty kill this year either. Only 71%. They're 25th in the NHL. I think there's going to be some opportunity for the Lightning to get some goals on the board with the man advantage if they can fix some of the woes that seem to be haunting them during the games.
Yes, absolutely. if the Lightning can convert on the power play and kill off the penalty kills, this is a win, I think. We'll see. This can be a special teams war. The issue, again, is like if you take penalties here, Rantanen is going to pick you apart.
Yep.
He's going to score 3 goals.
And Miro Heiskanen and Thomas Harley and Jason Robertson, Wyatt Johnson, the Dallas, Stars have just a bevy of people that they can throw out there shorthanded. And look, the Lightning's penalty kill, I think, has done overall pretty well this year.
Absolutely.
I don't think you really want to poke the bear, especially, I think the Stars right now are 3rd in the NHL on the man advantage. So this is going to be a game to me, Greg. I think this is going to be a goaltending battle. Jake Oettinger, one of the best goalies in the NHL. Andrei Vasilevskiy is getting the start tonight, according to what we've seen from Morning Skate. He's one of the best goalies in the NHL. I don't think there's going to be a lot of room for teams to have some really good chances. So that man advantage, those special teams battles, that is going to be key for this tonight.
Yeah, completely agree with you. And the other thing is both these teams are actually dead tied at 12th in the league with only 3 goals against per game.
Yeah.
So they're exactly even. So again, it's going to be tight. They're not scoring a ton, neither of these teams. And like when we saw the Lightning put up 5 goals against Nashville, that game was pretty over when they notched 1 or 2. So
yeah, they got an empty netter and then one immediately after, even
right.
though it was kind of garbage time. But
exactly. So that's kind of my point. It's not like the Bolts are scoring their average of 4 or 5 like they've been in the last year, right? Yeah, I think like you said, the power play will be key here because that's your chance to put in a goal. It's your chance to get one by Otter when he's screened, or you can get a good pass from Cooch. Special teams and goaltending, definitely the 2 biggest for me.
Yeah. Let's get to some picks tonight. Some betting lines from FanDuel. Surprisingly, Tampa Bay entering this game as a little bit of favorite. They're minus 144 against the money line. Dallas plus 120. This is an interesting one, Greg. Over under 5.5. What's the over under? You picking the over or the under on that?
I'm taking the over on this, I think. I know I do it every time, but look, if they're each averaging 3 goals a game, that's 6, right? I mean, that seems like basic logic, but the other thing is, I don't know. I'm feeling a lot of physical violence in this one. I don't know why. I'm just getting that vibe. I think this is going to be a physical game.
From the players, or are you going to start something out there?
Oh no, I'm not starting anything. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm a small guy. I don't mess around like that.
Yeah,
but no, I think it's going to be physical. I think there's going to be a couple power plays for each team. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities. And I know we said both these goalies are really strong, but also both their offenses are also extremely strong. And I don't think the stats reflect how good both offenses are right now. Yeah. But they're deadly. Like, it's not like these teams won't put up 5 goals. So I don't know. I think this is either going to be 2-1 or just a shootout, and it's going to be like 5-4,
You see, I have been wrong on over-under every time this year. And going into this game, I'm with you. I think it's going to be a goaltending battle. I think Andrei Vasilevskiy and, Jake Oettinger are really good shot stoppers.
Yep.
And I've been wrong on intuition every single time we've done one of these, Greg. So I'm almost tempted to just go over. Just because my intuition is always wrong. Nothing has made sense during these clips. So I might have to go over just because of how wrong I've been at every over-under this year.
Valid. Go for it, man.
Yeah. Let's get to some goal scorers tonight. Throwing some odds at you for an anytime goal from FanDuel. Kucherov plus 160. Jake Gensel plus 165. Jason Robertson 170. Braden Point 180. Miko Rantanen 180. Wyatt Johnson 200. Brandon Hagel 240. Tyler Seguin 290. Anthony Cirelli 300. Sam Seal 380. Anybody that you're putting money on to definitely score a goal tonight, Greg?
I'm taking Hagel.
I love that pick.
He's turned his game around. He's been scoring. He looks good out there now. It looks more comfortable. Got the monkey off the back. I'm feeling him. He's that guy that will notch a goal when you need one badly. And I think he's going to put one in. That's my pick.
I love that. I'm going to go a little bit off the board tonight because I think in these kind of defensive games, even though I just slammed the over, a in these kind of, games where you have two good goalies, it always seems to be the depth that comes through. So give me Pontus Holmberg at plus 900 in this one. I think Pontus Holmberg has been playing amazing hockey at both ends of the ice. Something just tells me that he's going to continue this hot play and get a goal tonight.
Love that pick. It's a spicy one. That's probably a good payout too.
It is. Well, it's plus 900. So yeah. I don't have to put much to be rich on that one. I can stay home. I can stay home and watch The Shining at any point in time that I want.
That's true.
Yeah, there you go. Obviously, lot to get to for tomorrow's show. We're going to be recapping the Stars and Lightning. We're going to give our plus minus for each game. Big storylines. Maybe we'll have a little something Halloween themed in there for you, because it is spooky season tomorrow, folks. A Friday Halloween show for you. Stay tuned. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening on Apple, Spotify, whatever your favorite platform is. Hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on any new content we put out. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked on Lightning. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Back with Stars Lightning recap tomorrow. We'll see you then.